whole city on his own. He comes in front and launches an attack on the deity, but the deity laughs it off and says, "Don't you dare attack on the deity," and slashes them with another attack. The warrior who was sent was burned to ashes in front of their leader, and the leader was very frightened by the sight of it. Then the deity warned them about the chaos they were creating in the city, and this would be their fate too if another step was taken. The leader was very scared and ran back from the deity. Then the general of the army asked what to do next, but their king tried to settle himself and said they would stick to the plan and get the throne. They would bring out more talented and strong fighters and fight them. They saw that the king had peed himself by getting frightened, and then the deity again arrived at the market. As he got time left, he went for a walk and saw a strange group of men with sinister vibes. This time, he decided to follow them and see what they were up to. They reached a strange place, and the demon king got angry that the mortals were so weak but still managed for the peace of his wife and himself. While studying them, he sensed something familiar. Meanwhile, the story begins with King Yu, who has his kingdom, and his subordinates are trying to create a sister club within themselves. The sinister cult worships the evil god, and therefore the demon king gets sinister vibes from them. Then some general makes a statue of an evil god, which could be worshipped every day by the cult, as it is their dharma to do so. The demon king sees the statue and realizes that the statue is of his junior. He thinks he will punish his junior as he is working his way through the chaos and thinking of exploding the city. Then he decides to go home and surprise his wife. Meanwhile, Yae is sitting there, worried about the late return of her husband. Suddenly, as she thinks about him, he appears with a strange box in his hands. When Yi opens up the strange-looking box, she sees that it has a golden hairpin in it. She looks at the hairpin strangely to see what its significance is. The deity makes her remember that about 10 years ago was on the rainy river when they first met. That was the day when Yi turned 16 and was getting chased by some gangsters. The deity took her and kept her underwater, hiding her from the gangsters. That day was the start of their relationship. The deity tells her that he saw this phoenix hairpin and bought it as an anniversary gift for her. Yi notices and asks where he got the money from, and the deity laughs it off and says that he was saving for it. Then Yi hugs him and they kiss. Suddenly, the neighbors come, and they become shy and run off to their home. Later, the deity massages Yi's legs as they were painting, and then they go to sleep. Empress Yi was very happy with the hairpin, and she was thinking that it was more precious than the golden amulet she gets on her birthday in the immortal world. Then she takes a sigh and sleeps off. The next day, the deity is carving a statue looking like his wife Yi. And then the next step, she hears that some guards of the 6th department have arrived there. They are calling off the owner. And then the deity comes out and comes to know that they are searching for the assassination gang responsible at the market. They were going to search his shop, but the deity refused, saying that he had no hand in that. But the 6th department insisted on searching it, as it was just a hunch that he had something to do with that. The deity was furious with the allegations, and the room got colder with his aura. And then they asked for money from the deity for the search team. He said he hadn't had money, and then they arrested him and took him to jail. The guards take the demon king to jail, and there they see a lot of culprits who were rightfully and wrongfully confined and sent to jail. Meanwhile, the guards go to the deity's house, where Ye is putting clothes to dry off in the sun. They knock on the door, ask for the right address, and then tell Yi that her husband has been arrested because he is suspected to have a hand in the assassination of General Fu. To free him, she has to bring 100 taels to the confinement area. Yi gets really angry at the system and how it is treating her husband, and she searches the whole house for money. Then she uses her power to send a glowing dove at the speed of sound to relieve her husband. Meanwhile, her husband is thrown in the lockup with people who had no money to relieve themselves, and they are sitting there for a long period of time because they have no money. Then suddenly, a guard comes in saying the boy's wife has arrived with the money. Ye reaches the jail within a short period of time with 100 silver tolls. The guard officer looks at her with a bad sense of sight, and the demon king is furious within. The guard tries to misbehave with Ye, and the guards start to misbehave with her, asking for another 100 taels and touching her inappropriately. Yi is furious with the guards, and she sees how they are misusing their power. The guard asks Yi to remove his partner and walk with him to remove her husband from confinement. But she declines, and the demon king is about to use his power to kill the guards off. Suddenly, the king and his minister enter the room and see the guards misusing their power to earn money from Yi and the demon king. They slap and remove them. Meanwhile, somewhere else, two people are talking about the misfortune of the pregnancy that took place between them. Then the king suddenly finds the guards responsible for the misbehavior and exposes them to the general public for looting silver taels from them. The king punishes them and says that they will be locked up for the rest of their lives. Then he turns to Princess Yi and the demon king and recognizes her at the first moment. He says, "I'm sorry for you too. I'm really sorry." He sees and scolds him for mistreatment in the vicinity and the law and order. not just for both of them, but also for other people. The general agrees to his mistake and suddenly orders 200 taels to be given to the couple and other people who have suffered through this uncle and nephew guard mistreatment. Demon King and Yi decide to go home. They reach home and ask each other if they are alright. Demon King asks Yi if she was frightened enough, and she replies that she wasn't because her husband was with her. Then the Demon King rushes off the next day to kill the Zhang family. When he enters their hall room, he sees nothing but just an empty house. As the Demon King moved into the house, he saw that it was empty. So he used his powers to move into the past and see what happened in that place. He saw that the king and his general had come with troops and arrested the Zhang family, threatening to behead and kill them for what they had done to the capital and its people. The Demon King was satisfied and said he did not have to kill the Zhang family himself. Someone else had done his job and saved him the effort. Meanwhile, Princess Yi was in the palace discussing who was responsible for the assassination of General Fu. She discovered that the Black Dragon clan was behind the throne and trying to capture it, so they declared war against them. They assigned the fighters of the Six Venerable the Fire of the Six Realms to align and fight against them. Princess Yi was very straightforward with her decision to wage war against them and hired General Fu to look into the matter. Suddenly, a white light emerged and Yi decided to meet the Six Venerable Fighters of the realm and have a fight. Word spread quickly among the crowd and the public that the Six Venerables were coming for an attack, and that the Black Dragon army was going to destroy everything. Meanwhile, Princess Yi and the Demon King were having lunch and she advised him to stay safe and go out as little as possible, as the city was not secure. The Demon King sensed the presence of the Six Venerables in the vicinity, and he decided to take matters into his own hands. He went to the Black Dragon army tent to spy on the general and overheard him planning to fight with the army and destroy the Demon King on his own as he had hired the Six Venerables. The Demon King used his powers to listen in on the general's plans and then decided to change the king of the Black Dragon army. He used his magic to change the king's opinion, and the king went out in public to make a speech, stating that there would be no war and that people should live in harmony. In the end, war would bring nothing but destruction. Princess Yi was sure that she would not lose the battle, even if it takes a lot of time. Both the ministers were too obedient and supportive towards her. The minister told them to fight beside her and grant her victory. Yi clapped her foot on the ground and ordered everyone to get ready for the battle. In her mind, she didn't want to leave her husband as she loved him so much. But the Empress, the Central Heavenly, was as important as her husband, and it didn't mean she could lose him. She thought of her days with her husband as the happiest days of her life, and then she thought that she must win the battle. Meanwhile, somewhere in the woods in the dark, 6 warriors of the Fire Realm were moving towards the battlefield. They were the Six Venerables. One of the Venerables talked about the mysterious person who intruded into King Ming's mansion, which made the kingdom worried. The Demon King attacked King Ming's mansion, and they discussed that it was some unknown person. They ended the small talk and got to know that the king's army had started approaching, so they just rushed off. And walking in the forest, they explained their mission. They would get a treasure map from the king if they helped him win the mortal throne. The 6 warriors of the Fire Realm thought that this would be a profitable deed for them, as they all introduced themselves in their own way. One was from the Queen Wang sect, Xintuan, Venerable. The next was Yin Yang, a black and white dove from the place BV, Vulnerable. The third was from the Heavenly Dragon Temple, a red dragon, Venerable. The fourth was from the Sky-Splitting Sword sect, a holy sword master. The fifth was from the One Valley Rose, Venerable. The last was from the Wood You Set the Chanji, Venerable. And suddenly, they were talking about the things of the divine fire, how strong they were, and how they would defeat the person behind all this in just a matter of minutes. And suddenly, the Demon King appeared and called them slow. They introduced themselves as the 6 warriors of the Fire Realm and didn't even realize that the deity was there. The Demon King had a strange presence around the 6 warriors, and they were afraid. Then the warrior from the Dragon Realm powered up to kill the deity, and the Demon King thought of having fun with the 6 warriors. The Fuji Cat of the realm drew his long mystical sword and attacked the deity with his mystical power, but the deity was very humble towards them and didn't use his full power. The warrior faced the sword and attacked the Demon King with full power, and he faced the sword. The great swordsman Venerable attacked the deity with a mystical sword, and everyone around him was surprised at how strong the old man was as he killed the deity in his first move. Everyone was happy, but some of them were not sure that the deity had died because in a split second, the deity arose from ashes and was furious. He just with a slash of his hand killed the old man, who fell from the sky to the ground. Everyone was shocked that he had just killed a Venerable with just a slash of his hand. The deity looked at them and smiled savagely.